Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello students, welcome to the virtual science class with lecture 18. Today we will learn about matters, chapter number 11. In this chapter, we will take the introduction of matter, compressing state of matters, particles in solid, liquids, and gas. We will discuss all these topics in this chapter. Everything is made of matter. Matter is anything that has weight and takes up space. Everything you can see and touch is made up of matter. Matter exists in three main forms, as you know. Which forms they are? Solids, liquids, and gases. It also has properties that we can describe through density, solubility, conductivity, magnetism, etc. Students, you can see the example of matters in this picture. Iron, the soul, a person, the spider, a computer, sandwich, water, fish, all the things which you can see in the picture, all are made up of matters. Matter is any substance that has mass and takes up space. It means that everything in the universe which have the mass and the space called matter. Open your book, page number 58. Here we have unit 11, matter. Have you ever wondered what our world is made of? Everything around us is made of invisible bits or particles known as matter. You too are made of matter. The three known states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas, as we discussed before. Scientists classify a thing as matter if it has mass and takes up space. Volume is the space occupied by an object that has length, breadth, and height. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. How do you know if something is solid, liquid, or a gas? Now we will discuss about the solids. Solid is one of the four fundamental states of matter. The molecules in a solid are closely packed together and contain the least amount of kinetic energy. A solid is characterized by structure, rigidity, and resistance to a force applied to the surface. Students, you see the example of the solids over here. Matter is a solid if it has, how you come to know that which things are solid? A definite shape. This means that it does not change its shape if you change the container. For example, your eraser maintains the same shape whether you keep it in your pencil box or on your desk. Also, the solid have a definite volume. This means that it takes up the same amount of space no matter where you keep it. A block of wood, tissue paper, your pencil, are some example of the solid state of matter. You see on your screen, these are some example of solids. Now come to the second type of the matter, which is liquid. A liquid is a nearly incompressible fluid that conforms to the shape of its container but retains a constant volume independent of pressure. As such, it is one of the four fundamental states of matter and is the only state with a definite volume but not fixed shape. You see here the liquid, no definite shape. When we shift the liquid from the bottle to the glass, it takes the shape of glass. Matter is liquid if it changes its shape when you change the container, that you see in the example, that when we shift the liquid from water to the glass, it changed the shape according to the glass. This means that it does not have a definite shape. For example, if you pour juice into a glass from a jug, it will take the shape of the glass. Liquid has definite volume, same as the solid have the definite volume. This means that it takes up the same space no matter where you keep it, in a jug or in a bottle. Water, honey, and the blood in your body are all examples of the liquid state of matter. There are some example of water, and you see that it change its shape. Yes, students, come to the third state of matter, which is gas. Gas is one of the four fundamental states of matter. A pure gas may be made up of individual atoms, elemental molecules made from one type of atom, or compound molecules made from a variety of atoms. A gas mixture, such as air, contains a variety of pure gases. Matter is a gas if it has no definite shape. In solids, matter have the definite shape. In liquid, it can change its shape, but in gas, no definite shape. This means that it changes its shape when you put it in another container. Take the example of air, which is a gas. If we fill air inside a balloon, it takes the shape of the balloon. If you pump air into a shopping bag or a beach ball, it will take the shape of that object. No definite volume, but if we compare it with liquid and solid, they have volume. This means that it spreads throughout the space provided for it. For example, if we blow air into a balloon, it will spread throughout the space. Air in the balloon and bubbles in boiling water are some example of gaseous state of matter. Here you see some example of gases. Our next topic is about comparing state of matter. Matter can exist in one of three main states: solid, liquid, or gas. Solid matter is composed of tightly packed particles. A solid will retain its shape. The particles are not free to move around. Liquid matter is made of more loosely packed particles. Now we have the property of solid, liquid, and gas. First, we discuss about the property of shape. What is the shape of the solid? Definite. The liquid. The shape of the liquid is indefinite. Take shape of the container. And in the gas, also the shape is indefinite and takes shape of container. As before I told you about the balloon. The second property is about volume. In the solid, solids have definite volume. Liquid also have the definite volume. And in the gas, the volume is indefinite. The third property is about the effect of comparison on volume. Compression on volume. No effect cannot be compressed. Solids cannot be compressed because they are tightly packed. In liquid, no effect cannot be compressed, and in gas can be compressed. The fourth property about effect of heat on volume. It means when we give the heat to the solid, what happens, what change become in the volume of the solid? Expands, volume increase. In the liquid, also when give the heat to the liquids, they expand and the volume increase. And the same property for the gas, expands and volume increases. It means that when we give the heat to the solid or the liquid or the gas, all these three matters expand and their volume increases. The last property of the matter is mass. What's about solid? Definite mass. In liquid, definite mass. And also in the gas, the mass is definite. Only the change is in the shape, the volume, and the effect of compression on the volume. The heat effect and the mass. These two properties are same in all these three matters. Comparing state of matters, open your page number 60. How are solids, liquids, and gases different from each other? We already discussed before this. Why do solids have a definite shape but not liquid and gases? It is because of the arrangement of the particles in the different states of matter. All matter is composed of tiny particles called atoms. You cannot see atoms with an ordinary microscope because they are very small. They are even smaller than the living cells. Let us learn how these particles are arranged in these states of matter. It means that the main thing in solids, liquid, and gases about their particles you see on your screen clearly the particles of gas, liquid, and solid. You see in the gas, the particles are moving very freely. In the liquid, they also can move because they have the space. But in the solid, all the particles are in packed form and they cannot move. Particles in solid. In a solid, the attractive forces keep the particles together tightly enough so that the particles do not move past each other because they are tightly packed. Their vibration is related to their kinetic energy. In the solid, the particles vibrate in place, but they cannot change their place. Only in their own space they can move. They cannot pass each other. Particles in a solid are usually arranged in a regular pattern. They are tightly packed. It means that there is very little space between them, as you see in the diagram before it. Therefore, solids cannot be compressed easily. Solids vibrate about a fixed position. The particles of the solid vibrate about a fixed position but do not move from place to place. They only vibrate on their own place. The particles of the solid have less energy than liquid and gaseous particles. You see, this is an example of the particles of solid. You can see easily they only vibrate on their own place. They cannot pass each other. Now come to the particles of liquid. In liquids, particles are quite close together and move with random motion throughout the container. Particles move rapidly in all directions but collide with each other more frequently than in gases due to shorter distance between the particles. You see here in the container the particles of liquid, they have the space in between them. It means when they move, they can collide with each other. Particles are still touching and held very by strong forces of attraction because the particles can move. Liquids don't have a definite shape as we learned before. They change their shape according to the container and they can flow because the particles are still packed close together. Liquid cannot easily be compressed and keep the same volume. Particles in a liquid, they are arranged in an irregular pattern. They are close to each other. This means that there is not much space between them, just enough for them to slide over each other. Therefore, it is also difficult to compress liquid. The particles of the liquid vibrate move about and slide past each other. But in the solid, they are tightly packed and only vibrate on their own place. But in liquid, the particles have some space, so that's why they can slide past each other. The particles of the liquid have more energy than the particles of solids, but have less energy than the particles of gases. Why they have less energy from the gases? Because the particles of the gases are far away from each other and they have the energy more than the solids, because the particles of the solids move only on their own space on place, but the liquid have some space. The particle of the liquid have some space between them. Here you see the example of the liquid. You see that they can move. The particles can move and they slide past each other because they have less space in between them. Particles of gas. In a gas, particles are in continual straight line motion. The kinetic energy of the molecule is greater than the attractive force between them. Thus, they are much farther apart and move freely to each other. In most cases, there are essentially no attractive forces between the particles. Yes, students, you can see on your screen the examples of the gases. You see the particles, how much space they have, and they can move freely. Particles of gas, they have no regular pattern or arrangement. The particles of the gas are placed far apart from each other, therefore they are easily compressible. They can move freely at high speed because they have much space in between them, so that's why they can move freely at high speed, have the highest energy compared to the particles of solids and liquid. There are This is the example of the particle of the gas, and you see that how much space they have and they can move freely. So that's why they have much energy than the particles of the liquid and the gas. Students, we have finished our lecture over here. The rest of the articles we will learn in the second lecture, and also the exercise we will do inshallah in the next lecture. Okay, students, if you have any confusion about the matter, volume, space of the particle, gas, liquid, and solid, or about anything about them, you can discuss with me in the Zoom class. Allah Hafiz.